Episode 112. Are these comics going to make good film and television shows? Are we going to see them on the silver screen in the future? We got Neo Before Zod. We have Titans. And we have G.I. Joe Scarlett from the Energon universe. Let's check them out right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about comics, television shows, and the occasional board game. But in the meantime, I am your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and a filmmaker. Just got back from a month in LA, working with Crispin Glover on a small film out there. I will probably be going back out, or the production may be coming here at the end of the month, beginning of next month. So we'll see what happens. We'll let you know. We had a couple of stars in there as well. So I'm excited to tell you guys about it when I'm allowed. So in the meantime, remember to give me a like and a subscribe. And also recall that we did launch Mythlords Classic Monsters. It is a deck building card game where you can play as the classic monsters with amazing artwork by the artist that has done many covers, including Spawn and Neil. He actually did Neo Before Zod a few months ago as well. And all of his artwork, his name is Mark Spears. So in the description has the link below where you can jump in, because we still have like 2 more weeks left where you can jump in. We are fully funded. So jump in and get your copy and get some free stuff while you're at it. So let's jump right into talking about Neo Before Zod. This is issue number 5. It is a 12 issue, I believe, and by Joe Casey. So we talk about, well, first of all, Ursa died in this thing. I couldn't believe it. I don't think anybody else could believe it. But yeah, they killed her off and did not bring her back. He also exiled his own son because his son was being a dick, and said, "Yeah, you need to go off on your own and become a man." And the kid was probably like 12 years old, and he said, "You're off the planet." So he was trying to create like a new Krypton type of thing. And then we start off now where he is as a flashback where his father is basically doing the same thing and telling him to go be a man situation. So he sends him on a little thing, and he gets this crystal, and we see Jor-El and him. He carves his Zod into his chest and says that, his dad's a dick. And Jor-El, is being nice to him during this whole time. But then we see that it's just in his mind, where it's basically a dream. He wakes up and he is like emaciated. I don't know what happened with him, that he got captured or whatever else, but he ends up breaking out. And we have these almost like Brainiac type of creatures, but they have like a single eye that extends from their head. It's kind of freaky. Zod attempts to just destroy everything. So they send out the troops, the one-eyed troops, the one-eyed green people eater. Anyway, they find that he's bulletproof, which I'm not sure how that works if there is a yellow sun around, because he's inside a ship. So I don't know how long he's been there, if he's all emaciated. But he does look kind of cool, kind of like a zombie. But anyway, he... let's see what happens next here. So he continues down the ship, etc. And there's like a prison there. And this guy just, since he lets everyone out, he lets everybody out of this prison. It's got like a prison ship or a prison planet. And the big dude, squeezes the guy's head and kills him. He's like, I'm the best now. Everybody bow before me. And then all of a sudden we get a heat vision blast that kills him, and Zod walks up and says, "All right, anybody else wanna face me? If not, I am gonna be the king. Anybody got a problem with that? Okay, so I am now the king." And he's like, now you are the Legion of Zod. So good stuff. Will this make a good film and television show? No, absolutely not. It's a good story to read, but without Superman in there, Zod cannot exist on his own. It just doesn't work, unfortunately. And I also never bought the fact that he had the bottled city that was in, Superman's Fortress of Solitude. There's no way that Superman would have ever Kandor. I think it's Kandor. Ever would have let that go and not searched high and low for it, no matter where Zod had gone. So he would have found a way to trace him. But all right, so let's jump into Titans. You're going to see very, very small amount of Marvel here because Marvel has an event going on called Bloodsuckers, whatever the hell it is. It's basically everybody's a vampire. Vampires are all over the whole Marvel universe right now, and Blade is leading them. And Blade's I don't know what's going on. I really don't care. I hate these events that they keep throwing out there for no reason. So, thankfully, it hasn't really infiltrated some of the other stuff that I'm actually reading from Marvel. But I'm not jumping into that. And since that's taken everything over, I have very small amount of Marvel. But in fact, I do very little DC nowadays too. I do a lot of independents. So, anyway, let's jump into Titans. This is number 11. This is by Taylor. And this he's kind of taken a break. So Taylor, I'm trying to figure out how I say this. He has a storyline which he drags out forever. Then whatever that storyline is, he puts it on hold, and then he jumps into another one. And then maybe in Nightwing, he had this. He wrote that book for 3-4 years or something like that. It may have been 5 years, and he created this character called Heartless, and Heartless is still around. He never completed it after years, and now he's about to go off the book, and I wonder if he still is not going to tie that up. He'd be on his last issue, just leave him out there for the next writer. It's the weirdest thing. So anyway, in this, Raven is turning evil. So she has locked her good personality into the stone that's on her head. And now she's evil, and she's trying to get the Titans to be her disciples. And that's her whole plan with her father. So she beat her own brother, who was jealous. And now, again, we're skipping ahead, and we're putting that sign on hold. And now we're going into a flashback of this girl that only thing she ever wanted was to be a Titan. So she trained and trained and trained and became, got a superhero costume, and of course shaved her head because every superhero girl needs to have a shaved head nowadays. I don't understand that haircut, but everybody in the world uses it and overuses it and overuses it and overuses it, and it's got to stop, man. But anyway, Star Labs contacts her, makes her a superhero, but she basically dies. So her body couldn't take whatever they did to her. Oops. I think they should have done a little bit more testing before they gave it to a human. How the FAA allowed any of that, I will never know. But anyway, Morrow says, save the brain. So they put her brain into, this is years later, they put her brain into an android, and she never wakes up and says, what happened to me? Her mother never comes looking for her. I don't like any of this. This doesn't make a bit of sense. It's all of a sudden she just wakes up like that. She's like, where's my body? No, she's fine with it. She's like, I'm finally a superhero. I can fly. I have no organic pieces at all anymore, but I'm a superhero now. So they program her, I guess Morrow and what's her face from Suicide Squad. So he also created Red Tornado and stuff like that. Waller. So he and Waller are in cahoots, and Waller's going to get him all the funding he needs for everything he wants to do, and they're going to reprogram this Vidya chick to go after the Titans and kill them, but she in her mind is only going to see them as robots. So he's like, well, look, Titan robots have taken over the Titans. You need to go wipe them out. So meanwhile, Dick has this Surinah thing go on. It has an alarm, and he has partitioned his brain like a hard drive, so that he's basically talking to himself, so that he can hide things in his mind, so that Raven can't read his mind. Okay, it's kind of like the Zurinar, but instead of having a different personality, he just partitioned his brain. Whatever. So anyway, because he's not buying what's going on with Raven. He thinks she's turned evil, so he's kind of figured it out. But anyway, so Vidya has now attacked the thing, and that's how she sees them. She sees them as these robots. And so the whole team comes at her, the whole bit, and Raven gets hit through the chest with a blade. So she's like been impaled by Vidya, and she just escapes. So she goes through a portal and just leaves. And then she's like, "For the Titans!" She doesn't realize that she's hitting the real Titans. There's where she gets impaled on the top panel there. So again, she goes through the thing and escapes. And she's like, "Well, what the hell? They just left her." And she heals up on the other side, and she's like, "No, they're going after my disciples." So now that's where it's going to link into the regular storyline. So I don't really need this Vidya chick in here. I like the storyline without it. I don't know why he's convoluting it. He should have just left it. But I like the original storyline of her being evil. We've seen it a million times before, but I like what he's doing there. All right, now let's jump into Scarlett. So this is the Energon universe. Scarlett and Stalker are my two favorite characters. Joshua Williamson's been doing Cobra Commander and Duke. Those things just finished, and now we have Destro and Scarlett with two new writers. Joshua Williamson was hit and miss me, but he really hit with those. He really knew what he was doing there, and he was into it, and everybody else was into it because he was into it. And now we have these new writers on Destro and Scarlett. And Kelly Thompson is way hit and miss for me, mostly miss. I mean, I read her entire run of Captain Marvel only because I like the character, but boy, she just falls off the reservation a lot. So I think I like maybe 20% of what she writes. So I didn't have high hopes for this, even though she is... And Stalker's in this too. So this book could have been great, but it's not. I'm just telling you right now, it is not. The artwork is horrendous. So let me go through this real quick. So she is coming out of the water. She does not have anything on her hair. Nothing. And she also wrote Black Widow, which is exactly how this feels. This feels like a Black Widow book. And so she comes out and she's all dressed up and her hair is dry. Now, any woman will tell you that it takes, when they come out of the shower, it takes like 2 hours if you just let the thing dry without a hair dryer. So what did she have? Did she have a hair dryer in her pack that had no power or anything like that? No plug? It's just battery powered? There's no way. They've already lost me with this crap. So she goes to a party, of course, because that's what spies do. Spies go out of the water and immediately go to parties. That's how this works. It's so tropey. It's incredible. And if you can see the red thing on her leg, that's the same thing that like Snake Eyes has on his thing. But anyway, I guess she's going after Jinx, and they suddenly have had this long relationship. Jinx and Scarlett have not had a long relationship. Scarlett's from the original Joes, and then you find out, oh, it's only been 4 years. And they were roommates or something. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't care, really. Anyway, they just happen to have crossbows there because that's her signature weapon, and she picks that up. This is so bad. So bad. So then we get something that's totally weird for her. She becomes insubordinate. That is not her. She is not an insubordinate character. Uh, she's smart, but she follows orders. And then you get Stalker just ends up being at her house and hanging out there and waiting for her to come back to send her on this mission. And then we get this backstory of her with Jinx. And he's like, "Oh, I have to go find her. She's sending me messages. This is a personal thing that we've had, this system where we leave each other messages all over the place. And she says, 'Don't follow me.'" What is going on? This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And then, Snow Job sends her, she follows her anyway into the snow. We continue to get these stupid ass flashbacks. And then we have these fight scenes where she gets a sword. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So now she's a ninja. Not as far as I ever knew. And we get this weird thing where she's being a ninja against ninjas. I don't know, man. I don't know. And we get a little bit of blood. I mean, the artwork is just horrendous. I mean, this is so stylized that, and he says after she kills a little ninja, she goes, and again, you see the snake eyes thing behind there, and she says, "I offer my sword to you, blah, blah, blah." And then she gets hit on the back of the head, and I don't know, and Jinx is there, obviously, and then Storm Shadow shows up. Whatever. Horrible. Just horrible. I was right to be worried, unfortunately. I would have loved to have been wrong, but I'm not. Will I be getting the second issue? Hell no. She's already destroying this character, and I'm not going to be there to see it. So let's recap. That'd be Scarlett would be no. They would definitely not make a good, like the other ones, the individual stories for them and kind of putting them together afterwards. I think that I don't know if that would work or not because they're not like Captain America and stuff like that, just having Duke. But I like them for what they are, and when they are all can be combined, I would love to see a great G.I. Joe movie, but this is just crap. Titans, yes, I like the story of him of Raven being evil. However, I'm not this issue with Vidi I could do without. And then Before Zod is a good story, but would not translate to the screen at all. All right, that's it for me, guys. Remember to like and subscribe. And remember that I have Mythlords Classic Monsters is up on BackerKit right now. The description below has the link where you can play as your favorite characters and also like recruiting Bride of Frankenstein. But there's the Dracula, Frankenstein, Creature from the Deep, Werewolf, etc. And then you're kind of upgrading your characters, etc. It is a deck building game, so it's pretty easy as far as rules are concerned. And then here's the expansion for Oz. So I have a Dark Oz where you can also play as Dorothy and the Wicked Witch, and then there's the other witches that are in there, and Scarecrow, Cowardly Lion, Tin Man, Glinda, all that stuff. Toto too. But yeah, check that out in the link below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out some other videos. Remember to give me that like and subscribe. Ring that bell, ding ding. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks so much.